Rich Patterson to my far left there, Patterson Brands, born and raised in a small town in Canada's Rocky Mountains. Rich grew up camping, hiking, skiing. Rich graduated from Simon Fraser University in '92 with his Bachelor of Arts in Communications. Worked in government and the private sector in senior public relations and marketing roles, most notably as Roots marketing manager. Since 2005, Rich's own company has been transforming client brands into elevated, engaging products, design, and packaging. You can find Rich Patterson Brands on the web, Instagram, and Facebook. And I want to say personally that we've done a lot of complicated technology behind our company store programs when I was a distributor, and Rich is somebody who's doing some very progressive work. So I'm really proud to have him up here answering some of these questions. All right, so Rich, first tell us a little bit about the type of stores you do for your customers.
Well, our stores run on the Magento platform. There's sort of three biggies in the industry, if you know. There's WooCommerce, Magento, and Shopify. We chose Magento for better or for worse 10 years ago. And we've just stuck with them ever since, and that's how we do it. We primarily run web stores or corporate stores for franchise systems. And what I love about franchise systems is our ideal customer has about 100 or more franchise partners across North America, and those franchise partners are spending, on average, about $450 per order. So for me, that is ideal. Yes.
And are stores, here's the question that a lot of folks really want to know too. Are stores really profitable? I mean, here's what happens in the industry. Here's the common story in the industry is people go after the store to retain the client, but they hate it. They loathe it. And are stores in and of themselves profitable?
The ones we do are. I find they are. Because
but that has to do with your client.
Yes.
Because many people think in terms of stores, they think of employee stores.
No, those
you're talking
are
about
terrible.
Yeah, you're talking about $30 order average transactions, but you're talking about $450 per customer.
$450, and
right.
we do get $1,200 order. We've gotten a $4,000 order. We've gotten a $6,000 order over the web, prepaid by credit card before we ship the product. I mean, it's like a dream, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the missing part of the conversation is that people say that stores are not worth doing because they haven't had the right customer. Mm-hmm. Not because they're not worth doing, but because they haven't had the right customer.
Yeah.
It's typically the case. What's the best experience you've had with a store?
Well, I think the best one is that first client we landed. They're in the home health care business, elder care. So they help their clients stay in their house longer by giving them support and whatnot, elder care. And yeah, we signed them in 2010. They're the first ones. They're the reason why we got into the business, because they said, can you do this? And at first I said no, and then I thought, well, yeah, maybe we can. And yeah, that's been the best experience because it's the longest since 2010. We just re-signed them to another 3-year extension, which will take us into the 2020s. And yeah, it's just awesome. Very profitable. They're very, very loyal, very sticky.
Have you had buyer changes in that time period?
Oh, tons. Yeah, I think we're on our...
This is one of the things I love about stores. You can have a customer. For one thing, the average promotional products distributor's customer is 2 years, 10 years. PPA, I did this study. It's been several years now. 2 years on average, tenure. And we know you typically lose the buyer, you lose the customer. So stores are sticky, as you said, but one of the things I was proud of is that one customer alone, we had at least half a dozen buyer changes within 5 to 6 years.
I think we're on our 5th in a
right.
7-year relationship. We're on 5 different buyers.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. What's the worst experience you've had with a store?
Well, we've had a couple. I won't say that there's really any true worst. We've had a couple kind of sad experiences and a couple disappointing experiences. The disappointing experience is when we've gone against our best advice and said yes when a client wanted one of these staff company stores. And I was like, we don't want to do it, and we tried to pitch them on why they shouldn't do it, but they frankly don't listen, and they're like, no, our brand is so shit hot, you know. These employees are going to be buying stuff, you know, hand over fist. Guess what? They don't. So that's been disappointing. But one of our best franchise systems, the founder died. And he was a wonderful guy. He was my main, so it's weird because he's the founder of the company, but he's also the main buyer or contact because he took it very personally, the branding. And he passed away, and then the franchise system just sort of, just nothing left. You know, the momentum died.
Back to the thing you were talking about where they think their brand is hot. Hey, if we build this, they will come. So we did a study, less than 5%, and it was just a little study in our own business, so this wasn't across the industry, but we did a study of all of our stores at one time. We found out that on average, whether it was $1 million program or whether it was a $150,000 program, less than 5% of their employee base would pay for merchandise out of their own pocket. So these folks will approach you with a store and say, hey, we want a store, our brand is the shit, we're just incredibly, we're hot. And I've actually had VPs of marketing say to me, I've said to them, you guys, the less than 5% rule, and they said, can you come to me to talk to my CEO, because they're not going to believe me. My job is to basically say the brand is the shit. I said, yeah, I'll come and tell you. Because we don't want to build it and deal with it after this albatross comes in. And anyways, don't get me started. All right. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about doing stores for customers?
Sorry to say, but let's not dwell on it, but it's that same thing that these clients just don't believe it. They just don't believe that a company store will have such low turn, low engagement. They think their staff are just going to buy stuff hand over fist, and that's been the most surprising. It's how difficult it is to convince them to not do it.
Right, right, absolutely. Have you done a pop-up shop store yet?
We've done a lot of pop-up stores.
Now let me define that for everybody, because here's the other thing. When people say company stores, there's different kinds of company stores. When I say pop-up, I don't necessarily mean pop-up retail, although you've done that. I'm thinking of a pop-up store where you might launch a store for a very short period of time. It might be 90 days, it might be 120 days, and it's just to capture some project. Maybe they rebranded and they want to celebrate with gifting everybody a gift, and you're going to close it down after 90 days. Is that something like that you've done?
Yeah, we've done lots of different types. We've done day-long stores just at an annual conference. They've been very successful. We sell stuff like crazy. We've done 4-month stores for professional minor league baseball teams. They have short season single A teams that need that. And I love it in our industry because I think you don't really have to reinvent the wheel. We understand screen printing. We understand embroidery. We understand a small curated collection of hard goods. So that kind of stuff is to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I liked the pop-up shops. I really enjoyed them. Safety programs, you go on. There's just tons of options there. Contract or no?
Definitely contract, 100%.
Do you have inventory?
Yes, we have inventory.
Do you finance that or with buyback agreements?
Some buyback agreements, some sort of scaled sales threshold agreements where we're charging people fees for sure. So we build it into the contract that they're paying maintenance fees and development fees for the store, but we have some sales targets, sort of like giving them back a discount if they meet. Somebody here who's so generous, Sarah from Fairwear, put your hand up. They are the queens of contracts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but to me, you guys shared an awesome ironclad contract with me for web stores, and I was like, yeah, thank you.
Financing the inventory and buyback agreement, Sarah, we're going to put you on the spot. So it was financing the inventory and buyback agreement, is that what it was?
It was a general contract.
Okay. Like a year?
Yeah, I mean, for the ones that like after a year, that's 6 months, after that,
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
Exactly, we have the same thing. There's a notification. Exactly, that's why. There's a notification period where you have to notify them that this inventory is now gone stale, and then they have the option to buy it. Usually just at wholesale plus storage fee.
Why risk financing a customer's inventory for them? Is it ironclad? Is it really ironclad?
I don't it's hard to answer that question. I had to do it I had to the minor league ball team essentially fired me after 4 seasons. But the good news is because we grew the sales so much, they were like, hey, wait a sec, that little store does $300,000 in a season. We would like that back, please. So then I had to execute that part of the buyback clause. Okay. And it was $35,000 worth of stuff, which to a sort of small company like mine, that was serious, right?
Right.
And they did it. They honored it, and thank God, because I lost a couple nights sleep. Just like you said, is it really ironclad? And I thought, will they really do it? They did it.
Okay.
So
what else is in a successful agreement? Is there anything else that?
The development fees, right?
Wait. Yeah, let's go right there for a minute.
Yeah.
Development fees. So one of the problems, the stores become anemic because the industry themselves undercharge services, whatever it is that they're building, particularly technology. They just think, it's not that much. We're just going to not charge them for it. So you charge service fees.
Yes. Development fees, monthly maintenance fees. The buyback, that's really the 2 fees mainly, is the development fees to develop the software. And then for a lot of these clients, they'll ask you for some very specific things, multi-warehouse shipping, calculations, things that, it's just boring, but I don't, this just involve buying plugins, basically, like all these Magento shop, they all have plugins and you have to buy them, so that has to be passed on. You don't want to absorb 500 bucks a pop for these various plugins, right?
Yeah.
It all gets passed on.
Yeah. After years of doing these programs, I'm embarrassed to say it took us 20 plus years to figure this out, but we finally came up with a minimum purchase agreement for certain customers because we had a very difficult time. When you do stores and you're the incumbent, sometimes what happens is you get a lot of the shit work and you don't get a lot of the sweet drop ship. And so what would happen with one particular customer where it started was we got really tired of it, so we thought, you know what, we're going to set up a minimum purchase agreement. We know they're spending over $350,000 or $450,000, I think it was, a year, but they're just giving us the complicated work. So we're willing to walk away, and we set up a minimum purchase agreement where if they spent more than, I think it was $300,000 with us, then we would have a reduction in fees. We didn't obliterate the fees. Basically, we had two schedules. And I was actually shocked that it worked. And I remember the vice president of marketing sitting down with me and saying, okay, here's the deal. My back's up against the wall because we're too integrated with you guys, and I'm going to tell you who we're buying from, and I'm going to show you the budget. I'm going to show you what percentage of the sales you're getting. And I'm like, cool, that's the conversation I wanted to have right there. Would love to keep your account. But it took us years to figure that out. And it took me, it was always too nice. I couldn't go in and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that was something we figured out very late in the game. And if you're financing inventory and you're giving away fees, I mean, there should be something like that in there, a deep hook. Because what happens with a minimum purchase agreement is for the first time in my career, you had the customer going to bat for you, getting other buyers and saying, hey, you need to actually, you guys buying that from somebody else? You need to come to us because we have a minimum purchase agreement. We got to meet the threshold or else they're going to charge us more at the end of the year. Yeah. So it was a great experience. I'll shut up. In-house or outsource services like fulfillment and kitting?
Oh, I think this one's a real thorny issue, and I don't really know what the proper answer is. I can only speak from our experience, but from our experience, we've done it in-house, and it's been successful. I just always felt like for control, most of these franchise systems we're working with have partners on both sides of the border, US and Canada. So if I was going to outsource the kitting and the fulfillment, I was like, who's going to do it? And is there anybody who does both sides of the border? Will they do a good job? And I just thought, nope, we're doing it. And I want to keep the margin in because the margins are very, like I said, they're healthy and they're good, but I don't want to start giving away. If we're charging Keystone, like retail type margins, but I have to give back 25% of that, or I think probably even more, 50% of that to some sort of fulfillment company, then it starts to make a lot less sense to do it.
Yeah.
So we do it in-house.
And we're talking pick pack fees, storage fees, receiving fees.
Yeah.
What, any others I'm missing on that?
Those are all the ones we use. And then what we use is the technology to auto-calculate it. So you can set up all these plugins in Magento so they recognize if somebody's chose a residential address and it tacks on the residential delivery fee. And the Magento itself has a built-in handling fee, which you can either have it switched on or off. Ours is on, of course. And so that's built in as well.
Yeah.
$5 for every order, just tacked right onto the order. Yeah.
I love kitting projects. Since we're talking about this model, I love kitting projects. I thought it was just me, and last night I'm talking to Scott with Icebox, who's closing today, and they're a huge operation, 100 plus employees, several million plus, or 20 plus million in sales. But we were talking about kitting, and I turned to him last night, I said, I love kitting projects. He said, me too, because the client, they don't price you out, they don't shop you, they want it done, they certainly can't do it, and the margins are hellacious. The first kitting project I remember I had that taught me this lesson was an oil company said, can you put this little note card that we'll print it and send it to you with a little lollipop? And it was a $20,000 kitting project. And I was like, yeah, we can do that. Like, 6-time markup. It was insane. But I love kitting projects. Do you like them?
Yeah, love them.
Okay, all right. We answered that about services for technology, setting up the store, monthly fees. Are there any services you've been able to provide that have become a revenue stream for stores that surprised you?
I don't think we've done anything too outrageous, except sort of reacted to client requests to build a better mousetrap. And I think this is what you'll find, and this is, I think, one of the troubles with comparing Shopify versus Magento is that the clients will have these custom requests. They want to use one login, a single sign login. They want to have multi-warehouse calculations. They want to have multi-shipping shipping providers. So a US postal option, a FedEx option, blah, 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 blah. So it's that kind of thing. I wouldn't call them revenue streams. I would just call them developmental challenges we had to find solutions for, which you can do because it's all out there. And then kitting projects. We don't want to get boring on the kitting project, but it has led to kitting projects. This kind of idea, like when they find out, oh my God, you're storing some stuff already for us, which is part of this SKUs that are offered on the web store. What if we just shipped you our next Christmas gift project, which is going to include some things we're going to source from you, but also some things that have nothing to do with you, some printed materials and blah, 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 blah. Can you do it? And it's like, yep, we can do it. Here's how we'll price it. Great.
Yeah. One of the things, we have a SKUcast episode where Mark and I recorded company stores, why do them, why not. One of the things I loved about company stores is because you're the incumbent, you can choose to grow widely with existing customers. So they'll take you in areas like print, they'll take you into areas like digital ads. We were doing some crazy things, custom video for franchise systems, and it'll lead you into some interesting places. All right, here's one of my favorite topics because it's an ugly topic, commissions. Are there conflicts with commissions in stores?
Yes, I think so. We learned sort of I don't know, a hard way. I'm lucky because Jane and Beth, who are on my team, Jane and Beth, they're not in here because they don't want to hear me speak after we work together every day. But Jane had she still bugs me about it. She had an awesome client, which is one of these franchise clients. She helped land them, and I won't bore you with all the details, but eventually we had to say, this doesn't make sense anymore to pay a commission.
We can't pay 40% when we're doing so much of this management. That's
right. And, of course, she was like, Rich, they do a tremendous business. And I said, it just doesn't make sense anymore. So we had to figure it became a house account. And that is sort of where I land with people, is to recommend you treat these web stores as house accounts because they're just, the margin's just not there. It's sort of like that idea about hiring an outside fulfillment company. We sort of had like an inside fulfillment company or an inside account manager, which you don't necessarily need and you can't afford to pay them.
Did you come up with a commission structure that still inspires sales? So what my experience was, we tried all kinds of things, but it would often kill enthusiasm about commissions. Did you come up with?
No, because I mostly just do it myself.
Right.
So.
And the house is the way we reverted to. So,
yeah.
Okay. Last question. And actually, we're going to take questions from everybody else too, before we get to Jake's topic. I'm just curious. You should go to Patterson Brands, the website. Swagbot has nothing to do with stores. Can you explain it real quick? And how has that helped create some buzz for your brand?
Well, it was a bit of a failure actually. So Swagbot was an idea I had. It was purely a reaction to attending a very large conference in Vancouver last year called BC Tech. There was going to be 5,000 people there, and we were going to be exhibiting swag. And so it was a fantastic opportunity, and that turned into a huge hit for us. But in the meantime, I thought, well, we're going to this thing. I sort of felt like we should walk the walk, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And AI is super hot right now, so I said, okay, I'm going to develop a chatbot.
Yeah.
I went on to Fiverr. I hired Syed. Syed's in Turkey. I can give you his contact information. He's a wonderful guy. And maybe it's a case of you get what you pay for, but I paid $400, and he developed chatbot. And it was a very linear conversation tree that was posted on, it's attached to Facebook and it's attached to our website, and it was for new customer inquiries. And it just walked you through some very basic, like I said, linear, are you interested in a project, what kind of branding you're interested in, blah, 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 budget and stuff like that, and then it posted the results, automatically posted them. But anyways, long story short, it didn't really get a lot of traction. And the funny thing is we went to this conference, like I said, 5,000 attendees, and we had this beautiful booth, and people walked in, and I had two different iPads. Turns out we didn't need two. We didn't even need one. We had these two iPads on stands, and it was like, hey, would you like to see our chat? And they're like, oh, chatbot, hey, yeah, cool. How about that sweatshirt over there?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's really cool. I love that decoration. And I'm like, yeah, sweatshirts. That's what it comes down to. That's what they wanted, right? So.
Before we shift gears, any other things you wanted to mention about stores that we didn't cover? Okay. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Rich, yes. Client that wants an e-store with
free shipping.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Love that
point.
free shipping.
What was your name? Dennis. Thanks, Dennis. I remember you from before. Yeah, we just don't do it, but you have to diplomatically break it to them, right? But it is a huge demand because that's what everybody expects now. Another way to sell it into the head office is you can say, okay, we can do free shipping, but it has to be built into the pricing. But I also find, I don't really like it that way. I just think that I think that the shopper should be in control of the shipping and they have to pay for it. And when they choose their style of shipping, overnight, 2-day, it calculates, it shows them the pricing. But yeah, I don't think there's really a way to build it in.
I want to push that back on you, Dennis. What have you done? Because you've done a lot of program business, and a lot of big program business. Yeah. Right.
It's another reason I like these franchise systems with their high average orders. They do tend to get it. It's like, you know, if we were shipping you 4 boxes of T-shirts, you wouldn't get the T-shirts shipped for free, right? It's sort of like they're ordering a big collection of stuff, and it's a much harder conversation when it's company staff stores when they expect to order a $20 T-shirt and have it shipped for free.
Absolutely. Yeah. Other questions? We got like 2 minutes left. Yes, sir.
What percentage of in-stock versus on-demand you guys see how to manage customer satisfaction in that?
Yeah, well, the way we've done it is we've done it by price point. So high volume, price pointed items, say $10 and under, we'll inventory it and we'll take the inventory risk. Things like jackets, Storm Tech, you know, jackets at $100 a pop, we're not going to inventory those items. We'll do them on demand. And it seems to work pretty well. And we've learned how to watch sell-through trends now, and we've learned taught ourselves how to buy, basically be buyers. I feel like you do. And then again, to make those margins, I love to make those margins, right? I want to have the T-shirt sitting on my shelf at $5 each printed, and I won't be able to probably do that at an on-demand situation, right?
We're out of time. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Enjoy the next session. Jake, thanks, man.
Oh, anytime.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
This is good. Rich,
That was
thanks
awesome.
a lot, buddy.
Yeah.
It's fun.